Hey, it's AC, and welcome to my house. Today, we're going to talk about real estate, a passion of mine, as you probably are well aware of. But specifically, we're going to talk about new construction. Uh, the dream, the American dream of writing your book, building your own house, starting your own business. I'm going to tell you everything I know if you happen to share any of those dreams. I have the same dreams. I go out and do it. Sometimes I do it better than others. But today I'm specifically going to talk about building your own house. This is a fun project idea. In many cases, it's also very expensive in pretty much every case. So I know it's a privileged pursuit, and it's something I get asked a lot as a realtor and as an investor. The economics of building your own home. The thought process for a lot of new time home buyers or first time home buyers is that, hey, I'm losing out on these bidding wars. Why don't I buy a fixer upper or a tear down and build my own house? And this will be, one, easier in many cases. I won't have as much bidding war, and I get to build exactly what I want. And I know it'll make money because I'm building something, I'm adding sweat equity and value to the property. And then at the end of the day, I get what I want for cheaper and I get rich from it. On the other hand, investors say some more of the same stuff because they want to add equity to a house. They want to build new construction and then they want to rent it out. And then their thought process is, hey, I'm not going to have any repairs for probably 5 years or more because everything's brand new, right? New roof, new HVAC, new plumbing, new electric. It should be good to go. So if you have those thought process, this is a show for you. Thanks for tuning in live. For the people joining in live right now, you can leave comments in real time on YouTube, Twitch, and what else? Facebook, House of AC Facebook group. Thanks for those turning in later, watching this after the fact. You can watch it after the fact on my YouTube channel, as well as the House of AC Facebook page. You can leave comments there. I'll answer after the fact. Okay. It's not just for the privileged who are able to sneakily watch me while they're at work. All you work from homers, I appreciate you tuning in though. So I've also got a good, nice new mic. So I keep getting mics that were poor. But I have an excellent podcast editor, Stephanie Fuccio, who was frustrated by my terrible mic. So I should be sounding better today. I don't know if I'll sound smarter. I don't know if they make the technology for that yet, but at least I will sound clearer. And true story, I was almost on Montel Williams, a reality show slash talk show in the early 2000s because my roommate nominated me for a voice makeover. He said I was sounded like I was drunk and eating at the same time. And they did call me and wanted me on the show. And then when they realized I did not really have a speech impediment, they did not want me on the show anymore. So anyway, I don't know if there's a microphone to overcome that sort of description of my voice. That being said, thank you guys for tuning in, and let's get to it. Let's get into new construction. Let's figure out if you can make money, if you can build your dream house, and all that fun stuff. Okay, so first, I want to reverse engineer new construction. What I mean by that is let's look on the market real quick. I'll pull up my FMLS. MLS is the multiple listing service that realtors have access to. I just want to look at recent new construction, okay? And then I want to see what the price is, what you get for that money, and then we're going to reverse engineer it. And I'm going to put this on my spreadsheet. I'm going to share my screen so that you can follow along in real time and look at the numbers with me. And if you're listening to the podcast, I will do my best to describe the spreadsheet. It's nothing, no difficult math here. It's just addition and subtraction. Okay. So let's get started sharing my screen here. And you might not be able to read that, but let me zoom it in. All right. Let me make the font bigger for you guys. I know you mobile users always complain that they have to squinch your eyes, and I want you to have the best eyesight possible. So I will make this bigger, and I encourage you to eat your carrots. Okay. So we go into the market here. I'm going to search residential, and let's say recently closed because I want to know what things have sold for. And I go down to description of property condition, new construction. So right now I'm searching new construction that's closed within the last 6 months. I want to not just, let me do like 1.2 million and below, just because a lot of new construction, it's hard to get for under $1 million. Just costs of, goods and materials and labor and all that really drives up the price. Um, also to consider, if you are ever wanting to make money in real estate and you're doing new construction, one of the most important things to understand is you want to always build the biggest house possible, because usually, if you don't make money, and two, if you do, you make way more money than you would if you would have just built a house 75% that you're allowed to, or 80% or 90%. It's all economies of scale. So if you are thinking about doing this, the best bang for your buck always is see what the zoning allows and build to that exact amount. All right. Don't go a foot short. This is the best way you're going to make your money. And that is why you always complain, or you always see people complain on the Facebook groups and the next door. Why is this builder building this giant home next to me? Right. That's a very common refrain. And you're going to see why. It makes the best bang for the buck. And you're just leaving money on the table if you don't do that. So you always want to max out your size. And just for reference, I've built about 10 new construction projects in my life. One was a primary residence for myself, and I'm about to embark on a second primary residence new build for myself. And I've built about 8 new constructions specifically as an investment to be sold, not rented out. So I have about 10 under my belt. Outside of that, I've probably worked with builders on another 20 to 30 new construction and major renovation projects over the last 3 or 4 years as a realtor, finding them the fixer-upper property and running the numbers for them, having the builder build it, and then I sell it for them. So I know a little bit of what I'm doing, at least in the Atlanta area, and I think it scales nationwide. So all right. So back to sharing my screen here. I searched for $1.2 million homes that's closed in the last 6 months. Let me just put city of Atlanta. I know that market the most. 86, that's a lot. Okay. 86 returns. Okay. So the first one we see here, Kirkwood neighborhood, 1.2 million. All right. Brand new construction home. I'm looking at photos. I don't have any input on this. This is not my property. It is an agent of that I know and respect, Jonathan Rich, who's been on my podcast as a guest. You should check that out. It's all about zoning and equality in real estate. Only to be found on the House of AC podcast. Okay, so that was on season 1. All right, here we go. Beautiful home, right? Boom, boom, boom. It's got everything you need. The butler's pantry, the granite countertops, the big stove, pristine, all white, hardwood floors. This, walk-in shower. This is what, 1.2 gets you, right? This is a very reasonable price for this property. I think one of the things is a 5-bedroom, 4.5 bath, 3,053 square feet. The biggest thing that gets me is on 1.1 acre. That is massive. Typically in the urban Atlanta, that is very difficult to get from. So let me see if there's photos of this backyard. Is it in a flood zone or something like that? I don't know. This is just the surrounding parks photos. Okay, it doesn't look like that big of a backyard, so it must be unusable part of the lot. Or what I'm thinking is, this happens sometimes. I think this is more likely what happened. Someone bought a 1 acre lot, and then they put 3 or 4 houses on it, but the tax records hasn't been updated yet. That's probably what's going on here, because that was definitely not a 1 acre lot in those photos. Okay, here we go. Oh wow. Below grade finish. Oh, okay. So it's actually 3,700 square feet. 3,800 square feet. 3,000 is above grade, and 746 is in the basement. Okay. So I take this closed price. This closed for $1.2 million. All right. Closing costs for $5,000. And this just closed last November. All right. So a couple months ago. Prices are probably a little bit higher now. But what happens, people see this and they say, hey, I want to, I missed out on this bidding war. I'm going to go build my house. All right. Let's go back and plug it into the spreadsheet. We got Current new construction price of $1.2 million. Okay. Square footage was 3,799. The price per square foot, if you look at it that way, it's $316 to build this house or to purchase this home. You've got everything's brand new, and you know, I would say mid-range, right? That was a good package. It wasn't cheaply done. If you're building $1 million house, it's got to have $1 million features. So $316 per square foot to purchase this property. Let me move this over a little bit easier so my face is not cutting off the screen. Okay. All right. And so let's now reverse engineer. Okay, if we could find a similar property for this, could we beat $1.2 million? Because ideally, if we can beat it, we'll go do it. If not, why don't we just buy this and let someone else do the pain, the headache, the sweat, do all the hard work, and we just swoop in and buy it, right? So let's reverse engineer it. So I'm going to take this address, 2183 Oakview Road, and let's do a new search. Okay, new search. And I'm going to say within 1 mile of this property. Active within 1 mile. We got 16 results. Okay. And let me go down to property condition fixer upper. What does that do? Oh, we got one match. That's not always the best. I want a little bit more choices just in case. Okay. These are all the properties within 1 mile, 16 properties within 1 mile, ranging from 934,000 to 250,000. So we're going to sort it by lowest to highest. Let's have a few looks at these. Great. Okay. This one caught on fire, has asbestos and mold. That's going to be a little sticky. All right. Let's look at the second cheapest one. This one's available right now. 2213 Ridgedale Road. $335,000. I'm just going to assume we like the lot the same. We like the street the same. Obviously, there's not a lot to pick from in these properties. There's only 16 within a mile within this neighborhood. And, this is the cheapest one. And so we're going to say, I understand people don't like it when you knock houses down. This actually looks like asbestos tile. So that's probably like an extra $10,000 to remove that. But otherwise, it should be fairly simple to bulldoze. And I love saving homes. I appreciate historic homes. My new home that I'm building is in a historic district, and we're taking a non-contributing home and actually making a house that looks like it should contribute to the historic district. I get it when people don't like it when houses are knocked down, but that's the plow of progress in many ways. And also, here's the thing to consider: the developers are not the evil person. Okay, if you ever want to blame someone for tearing something down, it always comes down to the zoning of the property, the city commission. And so, what I mean by that is, every single house in the United States has underlying rules and regulations that at some point a city planner has said, hey, we will allow maximum, density in this neighborhood, and the square footage. We'll allow a duplex here. We'll allow a single family here, a quad. Like this has been planned out 50 years ago in every single town, every single city. This is the city plan. These are the rules and regulations. It comes with every single property, right? So regardless of what's there now, you can buy a property and see what the zoning allows. Okay. So if someone comes in and knocks down the house and builds one that's bigger, and might not be to your taste, but it's bigger and the zoning allows it, and they're not getting special variances and they're not doing anything illegal, you can't be upset with that, because we're playing by the rules. I throw myself in there. I'm a developer sometimes. Like we're playing by the rules. The rules say I can build a house up to 4,000 square feet. Currently, there's a 800 square foot house there. I'm going to play by the rules and build it. So I don't understand why developers get the heat and the anger when it's like, hey, if you don't like this, go to city planning, right? And say, hey, I think we're allowing houses to be built too big. Let's change the city zoning code. I don't have any problem with that. I'm going to follow by the rules. I also get a lot of heat when it's like, Hey, we have enough $1 million homes. Why don't you build a duplex, or why don't you build a quadrex or a quad here instead of $1 million house? It's the same answer. I would. If zoning allowed me to build a quadruplex here, 100% I would. I'm not allowed, right? And so let's go fight the zoning board. Tell me they're determining the rules, and developers are playing by the rules. Okay, so that's where we have it. Okay, so back to this property that we're going to tear down for whatever reason. We want to build our primary residence there, right? To each their own. And this example, it's $335,000. Okay, price of teardown on my spreadsheet is $335,000. And we want to build the exact same house. Let's just say we also want to build a house for 3,799 square feet, which was the one we saw on the market. Okay, now this is where things get tricky. So the house that was on the market that we reverse engineered the numbers, its price per square foot is $316. That's pretty good. That's probably, as a realtor, I can tell you, yeah, that's what the comps are going to say for about new construction. An appraisal, you're not going to have any appraisal issues with that. 316 sounds about right. I've seen it between 300 and 350, depending on the finishes. But you're smart. You're going to say, I'm going to build my own house. I want to know how to do this. So you go to your contractor and say, what's the price per square foot to build? And at least in Atlanta, it's somewhere around $265 a square foot. Okay. So we can put $265 a square foot, but maybe your buddy will give you a discount. And let's just say it's 250 square foot. So I'm giving you a little break here on the price, because it's a buddy of yours, or you worked out a deal somehow. Instead of 265, which is about average, we're going to go about 270. So that gives you a renovation budget of $949,000 plus $335,000 for the teardown. Because what I did is it's 3,799 plus the renovation budget. Times 250 per square foot is $950,000. You add 335 to that and some change. Your final price there is 1.284 million. Okay. So you're already in a situation where it makes more sense to just let someone else do all the work and then build the house yourself. Okay. So let me, why is that? Right? Why is it actually cheaper to let someone else do the work? Well, a lot of times builders get volume discounts. That's also buying the land, right? They might not buy the land for 335. They might buy 1.1 acres for $1 million, but they can build 4 homes on it. So they're actually getting the land for $250,000 each. So they make some money there. They also, will have discounts on labor, because they've got crews that they work full time, and it's economies of expense. They can scale it down. There's a lot of reasons why builders can build quicker and cheaper than you. Obviously, they know the permitting process. They have got the architect on staff. They've got a machine, well-oiled machine. You won't have that, so it'll actually be a little bit more expensive than this. But let's keep playing these numbers. So I want you to be excited about new construction. Let's say, hey, you are going to build it yourself. You are the contractor, you are the handyman, and so you don't need to pay someone $250. You'll do some of the project management, or you'll do, the painting and the drywall, but you're going to hire out some of the other stuff. So instead of the contractor price per square foot, it's 250. Let's make it 200. Okay, these numbers are looking a little bit better. Renovation budget now, if you're paying 200 per square foot because you're doing some of the work, or you got family that works in the business, or however you're going to save some money. Now your final price is about $1.1 million. You're still buying it for 335. This tear down, and you're putting about 760 into it. Okay, so final price $1 million. But there's more expenses it's not just that simple. There's more expenses for you to worry about. You're going to have to go get a construction loan. Chances are you don't have $1 million in cash to build this. If you do, I'm going to lead you down a path. I still don't think it's going to be worth it for you to build your own new construction. But this is assuming you're getting a loan. So if you're getting a loan, you're going to put 20% down, just like you would buying a house. There's loans out there you can get at jasmineteam.com. who's where I got my new construction loans from. Great sponsor of the show as well. Where you can actually do it where 10% down, I think is the lowest, 10% down, 15% down, 20% down. I'm just going to use 20% down. It actually makes the math slightly look better, because obviously the lower you put down the down payment, which is usually my recommendation, and every home buyer is put as little down as possible. Not everyone likes that recommendation. Everyone thinks 20% is the best deal, because they're scared of PMI, but PMI rates are so low too. You can make more money putting your money somewhere else. But if we're putting 20% down, your mortgage payment is going to be lower, right? If we're putting 10% down, your mortgage payments are going to be higher. I want to walk through this exercise with 20% down and show you what the numbers look like. This is assuming a 30-year fixed for 3.25 interest rate. Your mortgage payment is $3,877. Now, the way that construction loans work is that they basically say, hey, okay, this budget has $760,000. We're going to put milestones in here. We're not just going to give you $760,000. You don't have to just start your mortgage payment right away. You you have to start the mortgage payment at the purchase price of the teardown, $335,000, and then they have a draw for your renovation budget. Let's assume $760. That's split in 4 milestones. What they'll do is like, hey, once the demo is complete, we'll release to your contractor, $100,000. And then once the framing is up on the house, we'll release another $100,000. And then once the drywall's put in, we'll release the next $100,000 to your contractor. They'll have a little schedule, and then once the roof is on and windows are in, we'll release the rest. Like they'll create some sort of schedule. But why I'm explaining that is, as a mortgage payment, you're only paying on the money that has been released. So your purchase price, $335,000 plus the $100,000 to your contractor, right? So that would be at first couple months, you're paying only on a $400,000 mortgage. And then when they release the next milestone, $100,000 or say, or some change, then you'd be paying a mortgage of $550,000. So it's escalating slightly up as your mortgage gets bigger, as your payments get released to the contractor. This is also good so your contractor doesn't take all your money and disappear, right? They have to hit a milestone in order to get paid by your mortgage company. Most builders are very familiar with this concept. They do most of their work with a mortgage company. So this is very common. This is not an unusual sort of structure by any means. So moving along, you have to manage those mortgage payments. A renovation by a new construction builder, probably the fastest I've ever seen. And this is a well-oiled machine, and they were in and out. They basically had the house under contract. They already had the survey done, architect plans drawn up, and everything prior to closing. And then after closing within 6 months, you as a person who does not do this full time, who does not have a crew, who has full-time commitments outside of building a house, you can't go at that speed. You're going to be questioned at every step of the way. What color paint do I put on? What tile do you want? Can you pick out one, what faucet do you want me to install? And you think these are easy questions, but when you go and you say, oh, I'm looking at a faucet, and you go online and you realize, oh wow, there's 10,000 faucets to choose from. It gets difficult, and then it's like, well, I'm not just picking out a faucet for the kitchen because I want it to match the handle pulls of the cabinets. And then if we're having chrome in the kitchen, we need to have chrome in the bathroom, right? These are not quick decision makers for someone who's just building a house for themselves. So I will say the fastest I've done it, and I don't do it full time, is 9 months. It'll probably take you 12 months, right? I'm going to put 9 months in here because what I'm trying to do is calculate the mortgage carrying payments. We're going to assume it takes you 12 months. But again, I explained that escalating sort of mortgage payment. At full release of that mortgage payment, you're paying $3,800 a month. So times 9 months. Really, it's probably 12 months, but the first few months are going to be a little bit lower and the later months bigger. That math comes out about $35,000. So you have to calculate that outside of, the work you're doing yourself, right? Because we went up here, we got the contractor down to $200 per square foot, and to save some money. But you're also spending some money on the mortgage payment, building for yourself. So that's $35,000 right there. Um, where are you going to live? This is another pain point that people don't factor in. Like, maybe you sold a house to buy this house to tear it down. Maybe you're renting a place while this new house is being built. Maybe you are carrying the mortgage of your current home and you'll sell it once the other house is done. So any way you skin the cat here, you're going to have either two mortgage payments or a mortgage payment and a rental payment during this 9 to 12 month period. Okay. If you're building a house that has a mortgage period, amount of 3,800, I don't know, you're probably going to have a rental payment close to that. But let's just say you're downsizing, you're going to find a cheap property for you and your family, and it's only $2,000 a month, and you'll have to stay there for 12 months. Build this thing. That's an extra $24,000. So just outside of building the property, you're going to be paying roughly an extra $50,000 in this year to cover your mortgage payments on your new property and your rental payments or your second mortgage on where you're staying, where this house is being built. So that brings your new total back up to 1,153. And you might say, wow, okay, it's making sense now. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of effort. I've moved twice. This new price, even calculating that I'm living and renting and paying the loan down, and I'd get it done in 12 months, I'm going to save $47,000. And I'm going to come back to you and say, we've got other expenses to think about. When a builder is when a builder is building a house, they have no emotion to the home, right? Because they're not going to live in the home. It's their business. It's a business decision. So they'll walk in and say, hey, I need white tile. What's the cheapest white tile? It doesn't mean it looks cheap. They might say, I need it to look at a certain, mid-range white tile, right? And they'll come in and they're trying to build a home that has the widest net as possible to a group of buyers. So it's usually very neutral in their choices. It's very standard in their choices. And that's why a lot of new construction homes all look the exact same, because it's proven to sell, and you don't want to get too cute, and you don't want to spend money on things that actually may detract from the home. So people sometimes, don't want butler's pantry, right? So some people might not want a steam shower, but some people might want a steam shower or a bidet or something, all these extra things. And I promise you, if you're building your own home, you're building a house for yourself, you're going to want to feel special. You want this home to feel special. You're going to have conversations with maybe your partner that says, hey, I've always wanted a house with a swimming pool. I've always wanted a house with a built-in dog bath. I've always wanted a house that had double shower heads. Things that a builder probably wouldn't build in a new construction home for a speculative home to put on the market, because those are very unique. Like, why would you spend extra on a home that has a dog bath when you don't know if the buyer coming in has any dogs? They may be allergic to dogs, but that makes it a unique property and special. So I say that saying, you think you're going to be saving money, but every decision along the way, you're going to say, oh, this is my only time I'm ever going to build a house, and I'm going to put it in now. And so what that does is, you're not spending this super cheap $200 per square foot. You end up spending more than the builder would in pretty much every single case. But let's just assume you build the same amount, $316 per square foot, which is what the builder is building. This happens to everyone. You get caught up, you get excited, and everyone's like, no, I won't do that. I want to live on a budget. But this is the fun part of building a house. Like, why would you not want to build a house if you don't get to build the special things just for you? This is your dream home. You plan to live there forever. It doesn't matter. I want to build the house for me. And I'm not saying it's a bad decision if it costs more, because this is a lifestyle decision. It's rarely this will be a real estate decision, right? If this is a real estate decision, you'd think like a builder, and you wouldn't care about these things. You would just say, what's the cheapest faucets that I can buy today that, for the whole house, one kitchen, four baths, and you would just buy the group on discount, right? Whatever inventory sale they have. But if you're buying it for yourself, that's hard to do. It's hard to stay on that. So if that is the case, if you end up giving it your personal touches, which I think you should, if you can afford it, well, now your final price is $1.535 million. And that's $300,000 more than building. And if you calculate in the loan payments and the rental payments while that's being built, you're up to $1.6 million. It doesn't make sense. That's a $400,000 spread. Okay. Again, we can play with these numbers all day. Maybe we go down, oh, Alan, I won't do that. I really, really will, keep it down closer to, the contractor said he could do 250 for me. Okay. Still are building a house at 1,284. And then plus the extra living expenses, that brings it to 1.3.5 million. So either way you cut this, you're either paying $84,000 to $150,000 more than the purchase price. And now this is where it becomes a problem, because we have a comparable property that I showed you that just sold for 1.2. And now you're building a house where the final price is 1.284. It has the exact same square footage. So it's not going to appraise. It's not going to appraise. You're 84,000. It's not going to appraise. So now you got to come out of pocket to make up that difference. And you may be scratching your head and saying, how will it not appraise? Because I just built this. I've got higher materials. Sorry, I'm trying to lost my mouse here. Where did my mouse go on the screen? Oh, there it is. I think, okay, here you go. She's like, why will it not appraise? You just bought the same size lot. It cost you cheaper than what the builder built for. The builder built for 316 per square foot. You got it down to 250 square feet, and you have the exact same square footage, new materials, built immediately after the other one sold. But it won't appraise, so you have to come out of pocket. But again, this is why it won't appraise. You can't get the volume, the pricing that a builder gets, and the speed and the material. So think of it this way: if you need a plumber to show up on your project, and this is your first time building a house, and he also has a client that builds 20 houses a year, and that builder needs a plumber to be on his property that day, who do you think that plumber will go to? He's going to go to the Golden Goose, the builder that keeps him employed year round. And when his free time, he'll come over and help you, right? Same with electrician. Let's say you need an electrician to come because you can't put the sheetrock until the electrician comes. And she's working on another project. And, she's going to charge you more. She's going to say, hey, this is a one-off. It's going to cost X amount of dollars. But that builder who says, hey, I'm looking for an electrician who can put in, the electricity, the cables and everything 20 times a year, you're going to get a volume discount, right? It just makes sense. That's how business is done. That's no one taking advantage of you. That is just how business gets done. So all this stuff adds up to the person who's doing it themselves. It slows down your project. You can't do it as fast. It makes it more expensive, and it just creates delay after delay because you can't get the painter to paint the rooms until the sheetrock's up, but the sheetrock can't go up until the electrician comes. And so a lot of times if the electrician misses a day, all these things that you had coordinated to start the following day in the week, and project manager would do, that the builders have to run a smooth process. You're not going to have that. And even if you hire for that, it's going to be difficult, right? Or you're going to pay extra for that. And I think you should pay for extra for that. So back to the spreadsheet. The numbers rarely work out that you're going to make money building new construction. And I come back to this. If you live in the property for like 7 years, then the numbers start working out. Okay. An example is my house. So the one that I built and recently sold. Let me see if I can find it on here. Um, I bought a house 8 years ago. Um, let's see here, 538. And let's. Uh, There it is. All right. I bought a house. When was this? 2013. So yeah. Wow, 9 years ago. Okay. $326,000. All right. This was at the time in this neighborhood. There was we were moving from New York City. I think the most expensive home we could find built in new construction was $725,000. That this was 9 years ago. That this neighborhood is not priced that anymore. And we decided to buy this home, and it was a 2 bedroom, 1 bath, 1,250 square foot in an area very walkable with great schools. And we bought it for 326, and we knocked it down. And I remember we built it, and it cost us I want to say $440,000 to build a brand new construction home. And we built it to be as big as it possibly can on this lot. And it was one of the smaller lots. So all in, it cost us about $775,000. And I remember pulling out my hair and saying, um, man, we could have bought a similar home for $725,000, right? And not go through the effort. And we were renting a place for $2,000 a month, and it took nine months for us to build this house, and we're making mortgage payments on top of this. So it's a very stressful process, and it's difficult when your conversations at dinner table are, hey, I want the toilet to be on this wall, and you're like, no, I want the toilet to be on that wall. And it's like, why do we care so strongly the direction the toilet's facing? Like, if we bought a new construction home, that would never have mattered. Like, we're just saying, oh, there's a toilet in the bathroom, check, and we move on. Now because it's just open-ended questions, it just creates for a stressful situation. But fast forward eight and a half years later, this is the house. All right. This is the house that we built. It's a very modern home. You can actually see the house next door. I built that home for some friends as well, next door. And so, we got a little accessory dwelling unit above the garage, which is like a little apartment. We built the maximum we could possibly build in this property in order to sell this home. It was just, that's the economics. You want to build the biggest home possible. And at the time, it was a little absurd. This was 9 years ago. This neighborhood didn't have any modern homes. These homes weren't as massive. This was all in 2,800 square feet, which was big at the time. And it seemed a little crazy. But now I just sold this. I just sold this for $1.1 million. So at the time, I overspent to build exactly what we want, but you live there. It's your lifestyle. Obviously, $775,000 investment. 9 years later, we sold it for $1.1 million. That's how you're going to make money on this. Is buy and hold, and just let everyone else build up around you. And over time, other people, other builders, other families are going to knock down their properties and build new construction as big as possible around you. And that's going to just create more of a frenzy, and it's just going to keep going up. It's just really difficult to make money as a primary investor buying your property. It doesn't mean you don't do it. It's just you don't save money. You just won't save money. It's almost cheaper to buy someone else's new construction that may not be to your liking, but they built it to the maximum square footage, and then you go in and then you change the tile, or you change the kitchen countertops. And it might seem absurd and expensive to take a brand new granite countertop, and if you don't like it, you rip it out and you put a new one in for $15,000 because it's a massive kitchen. It's still going to be cheaper than paying mortgage payment and rent somewhere. It's still going to be cheaper because it's just the time and the stress and everything like that. So look at new construction, as crazy as it sounds, as a blank slate and as a way to save money. Now, as an investor, so how did I make money as an investor on the properties that I built? It was a combination of, most of the properties I partnered with a builder. So I went in on it with a builder and I said, hey, you provide the crews, you make all the decision making on terms of supplies. And, I don't want to slow down the train by you saying, you know, Alan, pick out a ceiling fan, right? Like you go in and this is a non-emotional new construction build that we're building. And that helps speed it up. He has crews. A lot of time builders, they need to keep the crews busy, right? What I mean by that is you've got a framer, right? And as soon as that guy's framing one project, if you're a builder, you want to get that builder framing your next project, because what happens is that framer is going to go to another builder, and then you got to get on their schedule. But that builder might have that framer for three other builds immediately after. So if you miss them, you got to wait 2 months before that framer comes back, and so a builder's incentivized to keep his crews busy. So if I can squeeze in a renovation project between two other builds that a builder's doing probably for, as a custom build for a primary residence builder, then I can kind of squeeze in as an investment saying, hey, just whenever you got the framer on that site, send them over the following day. And then we'll just piggyback off that timeline when the plumber shows up, have the plumber come in when the electrician comes up, and I can kind of plug myself into two other projects that builder is doing. So I've partnered with builders who already have a full plate, or at least mostly full plate, and they've got the crews that they can keep busy. So that allowed me to get the volume discount, because what would happen is that builder's got to buy X amount of sheetrock for a customer, for two customers, and then my investment would be a third. So we get this huge volume discount. Same with toilets. Like, I don't care about the toilets. Get the same toilets that other project's buying, so that we can get them at the same time and a volume discount. And so that was sort of how I made money in it, and that I partnered with a builder, and we were going to share. We shared the proceeds at the end. Another way I did it was when I did not partner with a builder, and I would hire a builder, and I would say, give me a fixed cost. And the fixed cost would be, hey, it's going to be whatever, $265 a square foot. And the builder would write up a budget and say, you've got $10,000 for plumbing allowance, $12,000 for appliance allowance, and et cetera. And so what that means is, they give me a fixed cost. All in, this is going to be let's call it a $500,000 new build. I knew what every dollar was going to, and I just hired an interior designer who I trust and said, here is the allowances and here's the budget. I'm not a designer. I don't have the taste. I don't have the desire to pick out the fabrics. I know that's fun for a lot of people, but this is not a house for me. This is a house I'm putting up for sale. And I just said, you've got to find the best that you can that fits within this allowance. And so if you got a $12,000 appliance package and you can only buy appliances that are 12,000, then you stick to your budget. There's no wiggle room, right? You constantly break your budget if it's for your primary, because you're like, oh, but this fridge has an ice maker and this one doesn't, right? I don't make those decisions as an investment, but I would on a primary. So it allowed me to adhere to a very, very strict budget. And also, as a realtor, I found some properties that were completely underpriced and made no sense. And I was able to recognize that and jump on it before a builder could. So I'm an opportunist. When I see an opportunity, I purchase it and I'll build upon it. But that just takes experience. And it's because I had already built a primary myself. I knew the process, that I was able to apply it in a business sense. So ask questions. Thank you for tuning in, guys. If you've got questions about that, if you want me to redo the numbers for you, go through the spreadsheet again, anything along these lines, happy to. I want you to understand this because it's a very common question. But at the end of the day, if you're buying a primary, it probably makes sense to let someone else do the build. It's just going to save you a lot of stress, and then redo that new build. It's still going to be cheaper. What's expensive is moving walls and moving pipes. So if you're okay with the floor plan, you like where the kitchen is, you just don't like the cosmetics, it's still going to be cheaper to just buy new construction and give it your own personal touch over time. Otherwise, build a new construction, understand you're going over budget than it would be, but you're paying extra for custom home. Everything that's custom is more. If you're buying custom shoes, custom clothes, custom car, custom anything, the word custom means more expensive. So you have to apply that to real estate. If you're building a custom built home, it's also going to be more expensive. Okay. It's in the word. Everything that's custom, everything that's unique and specific to you is always going to be more expensive. Doesn't mean don't do it. I want to let you know what you're in for. And also, you're building a house that you're planning to live in and not to sell, which is different than a builder. A builder says, I want to sell this as fast as possible, because the worst thing a builder can do is build a brand new construction home where their mortgage payment is the biggest, because they've gone through the entire draw of all the renovation budget that they got in their mortgage loan. And it just sits vacant, and they're just losing $4,000 a month. That's painful. So they try to make the most universal choices in order to sell it as fast as possible. You won't. You're going to make it unique to you, like you should, because it's custom. So if you do have to sell right away, it's going to take longer. It's just the business. It's just the how it's broken down. And so that's how it all works. I think I've covered it. I think that's it in a nutshell. New construction, great idea. If this is a personal project that you want to accomplish yourself, usually a poor investment. And if you're building a house, new construction to rent out, I don't like that business practice. A lot of people want to rent it out because they're not going to have any repairs. But I'm telling you, your house is never going to be, in terms of the market and how fast it's going to sell, a new construction home is going to sell super fast, and you're going to get a premium for it. But if you build a new construction home and you let a tenant do some wear and tear for 2, 3, 4 years, it loses its gloss. It's not as exciting. It's not so fresh. You lose the new house smell, and your price per square foot is going to go down. And so now you're selling a home that has, 3 years of wear and tear on the HVAC and the hot water. It's deteriorating. And so a purchase to build to lease, to me, doesn't make sense. I know people who do it, understand they want to do it because they don't want to deal with repairs. I just don't. I think there's a better bang in your buck to actually have a house that has needs work. And then as things fail, then you put new things into it. So you buy a house with a 10-year-old HVAC and you got it at a discount, and you just ride that HVAC till it dies 5 years later, 7 years later. Then you put a new one in. And then every time everything breaks, you put something new in, and then you're adding value and increasing the value of the home, which is much different than letting the home deteriorate under your watch. So there you have it, guys. That's New Construction Breakdown, the House of AC. Thanks for tuning in. Follow me on all the social media channels. I'm having fun with TikTok. So check out at the House of AC on TikTok. I'm also on Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Discord. You can go to Linktree/the House of AC if you want a link to get a mortgage to jasmineteam.com. And also got a bunch of other links on there as well for things that I talk about quite often. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you tomorrow, guys, on the House of AC.